Okay.
I was at Faith World.
Yeah, that was when we left.
You left in 2010?
I did. We did.
Did
we
you?
had Parker. Yeah, we had Parker in 2009, and we left in May of 2010.
So I was there in 2010, and I was there for a while, and that's back when my mom, she got me back going to church, because I wasn't going to church for a while. I was a pastor's kid, so I did the whole pastor's kid thing. And so I went back to Faith World in 2010, and you were there, and I was like just floored by the whole praise and worship experience there. And I was like early 20s, so I was in that weird phase of life.
Oh Lord, yes, I know
20s.
that early.
Yeah. So just that, and I've never been the one to like really express worship. I'm a guy, so we kind of have to keep our
cool.
me mug on. Yeah. But praise and worship there got me just to release a lot more.
Wow.
The first time I would go down to the altar was that. So like, your praise and worship and what you did there like really stuck with me. I'm 35 now, and I don't forget anything that happened.
Wow.
There. And I started really getting into music because my wife sings, I rap. So I was doing music at that time, and that's how I connected with Rob and Johnny.
Yeah.
And so it was one time after praise and worship, and I was like, can I talk to you? And you was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I do music. And I handed you one of my CDs.
You did?
Yep. I handed you one of my CDs. And it was a small, short exchange after praise and worship. And that was it.
Was it like just like in a plastic cover kind of deal?
No, it was
just like
the jewel casing.
Oh, yeah.
So it was what I could do at the time.
Yeah, sure.
So it was a little Sharpie marker.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I'm sure I listened to it.
Yep. But that happened in 2010, and I was just like, man,
and since you never heard from me again.
No. No, I was young. I was, just trying to see where I could fit in, man. And Faith World at that time was a huge part of my life, man. Still, Clint Brown, you made such an impact on my life, and I've always been just supporting and just.
That was such an impactful era. We always say it was like an era, for people.
Yeah.
It was just incredible times. Yeah.
I don't think, for me, I haven't witnessed anything like that ever. And even go to different churches, and it's just.
And we were so ahead of our time. Like that was 10 years ago.
Yep.
And just the things that we were doing, like it's unbelievable.
People are just now getting to doing things like that. But and yes, the lighting and all that played a factor, but there has to be a spirit there.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that the Holy Spirit is in that place, and you and Bishop, because like there's a difference from just hearing good words.
Yeah.
People can sing, they have a good voice, you can hear all that thing, they can hold a tone, hold a note.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't penetrate,
absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
You can notice it. Talent,
absolutely.
But with no anointing, it's just...
Yeah, absolutely. One thing about Pastor Brown, are you at Judah Church now?
No, not now.
Okay. She referred to him as Bishop, and I haven't gotten used to calling him that yet, so I didn't want to offend. But one thing about him is that, you cannot deny his ability to create an atmosphere for worship, and it's something will forever stick with me.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Sit Down. I'm your gracious host, Daniel Tademy, and join with me this evening is the Queen.
Oh.
LaRue Howard.
What's up?
Thank you for sitting down with
so
me.
Glad to
I appreciate
have
it.
a seat with you.
Yeah, we're on The Sit Down. So, like always, we're sponsored by Barbers by Nature. So make sure you guys check them out, get your hair cut. And if you need help with any life insurance or financial issues, hit up my beautiful wife, Oksana Tademy. She can help you out with that. And hit up the Shopify. Check out the Shopify, get some sit down merch. And thank you guys for tuning in. So,
I'm excited about this mug.
Yeah.
My husband loves coffee mugs.
Yeah.
So we'll have to hit up the Shopify and get some sit down merch.
Yeah. I'm a huge coffee drinker, but now I moved so much from hot coffee to Starbucks Frappuccinos.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. So
we're a little
talked
bit of coffee snobs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are just a little bit. I make my own little espressos with a little mocha pot, and then I got a frother.
That puts the little bubbles and stuff in there.
The foamy.
Yeah.
You need to get a frother.
That's advanced.
It's nice.
I was using the Keurig like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then my wife, she bought the Keurig cups, and we had a Keurig back here. I used it like one time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's time.
Gotta elevate, get you.
Yeah, I gotta get my
leveled up. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about. So we talked a little bit off camera. We were talking about where you're from and where you brought up. So what brought you here in '95 to Orlando?
Wow. What brought me here to 95? In 95,
yeah.
I actually ended up marrying my college sweetheart, which is not my husband now, but and he was singing at Disney at the time, and so we moved here for entertainment, for him to be a part of the entertainment at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And then when did you get into? Were you always singing at that point?
I have a degree in vocal performance.
Really?
So yeah. So I have this degree, but I wasn't doing anything with it at the time. But it's funny. About 2 weeks after we moved to Orlando is when I found Faith World, which is the church where you met me or became familiar with me, and so from 95 on is when I was attending there, but didn't start singing in worship until about 3 years later.
After that.
So, yeah.
So what is that? So you come. I want to, because you moved to a new place, right? I want to talk about like that transition from being in a new environment. You don't know anybody, and how well at that 95. How old were you when you got here?
Oh, 25. Yeah.
So you got married at 25.
Yeah, 24, Jeez. 25. I
couldn't see me getting married at 25.
I know, it was so crazy. And when my daughter, who I had at the time, when she turned 25 this past December, I told her, I said, man, you're the same age that I was when I was married and had you. So it really gave me a different perspective for her as an adult. But man, I was so young then, and just the life experiences that I had from that time on, just really, it's amazing just that I'm made it through, but I attribute my survival to being connected at the church that I was with at the time.
Yeah. And
just learning how to access God's presence through praise, and it saved my life, that being a part of that ministry at that time.
So you were believing at 25? You were saved
I
at 25?
was a believer at the time. Yeah. I really accepted. I grew up in church. Okay. Grew up, but I had my personal relationship with the Lord when I was around 21. So, yeah.
So how'd your parents feel about 25 getting married?
Oh, my parents, they were supportive. Yeah, they were supportive. It's like I said, I was with him throughout college, so it was an adventure, to say the least.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
An adventure. That's classic.
Yeah.
So you get connected with Faith World.
Yeah.
And then, so how does that happen? Because I found out about you. I was introduced to you in 2010, but you was already you were releasing music.
Yeah, by 2010.
Then,
yeah, man, yeah. So from 95 to 2010, that's like 15 years or so later. So I was not even in the choir or anything. I was just a mom, which, after about a year after joining the church, went through divorce, and so was a single mom, just serving in the children's ministry for probably 3 years there, and then around 98 decided to join the choir.
In 98.
In 98, joined the choir.
Like, what were you doing in the children's ministry this whole time?
I was my daughter was there, so I was volunteering.
Yeah.
and just and trying to just stay alive, trying to maintain. You know, in this new area, new city, new state, and you know, going through a divorce, and just was rough. Right. You know, any person who has gone through a divorce, you know, it's a hard time. And so, just trying to just maintain. And but when I joined the choir, it was really like, okay, I found my vein, you know, my space. And God had given me a vision when I was in college of me standing on a platform, and the number of people that were in the audience per se, like there was no end to the people. It was like God had me up top and I could see down, and I could see me on the stage and the people that were in the audience. It was just like a sea of people, and there was like no end. So I'm holding on to that vision. Had forgotten about it, but God brought it back to my remembrance after I joined the choir. And so in the choir, on the back row, having myself a good time in the alto section with all the tenors over there, and we're just having a good time. And there was an audition for the front line of praise team at the time, and so I auditioned for the choir, for the praise team, and Martha Munizzi was our worship pastor. Yeah.
I like her too.
Yeah, love her. And so I auditioned, and okay, funny story, and she knows this story. After I auditioned, something happened. I think I started feeling myself. And I started, you know what I mean? Right. And so I got frustrated because, like, in the middle of like rehearsals, you know, being musically trained and having been in college choirs and things of that nature, I knew how to direct. I was a music teacher, elementary music teacher, middle school music teacher at the time. So I had
all around music.
Just all around it, yeah. But I would get frustrated, and she would, you know, I would hear her trying to, you know, do things with the choir, and I'm like, dog, if I could help her do this, I don't know why she's doing, you know, it's just not good. And so I left for like 3 months. Wow. And started visiting another church in St. Cloud here in Florida, and the Lord just really started dealing with me. And so I went back, and the Sunday that I went back, she said, you almost missed it, you know, because I went up and I apologized and said, you know, where I was and everything. And she said, you almost missed it because Pastor Brown literally just asked for you today. Like, he was going to have you step out and lead a song, and like just today he was like, where's that girl that sings all the parts? Where's that girl that sings all of the parts? Where is she?
Oh man.
And that's so from crazy. Then on I was like, oh my God, I literally almost missed it. And so from then on I was on the praise team and started traveling with them, and the rest is kind of history from there. I want
to act two things. The first one is, so your music is like all through you, which is crazy. So where did all that come from? Like, when did you start realizing that you wanted to be in music? And then I want you to talk a little bit about confidence, because I'm pretty sure it took a lot to go from, you know, you get here, you know, and I admire people who are able to make a bold thing, like a move from a different country to here to America. We had a immigrant on the show. She spoke a little bit about that, coming from a different country to here.
Wow.
And then, you know, so from a different city to come in here, like, you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
So I want to hear, how do you feel about confidence, and then taking that step to say, okay, I'm gonna join the choir.
Yeah. So I was always in music. Like, my mom always made sure I was either in piano lessons or dance or band. I was just always just growing up, which, you know, I try to encourage people that have children that they notice a gift, always get them into some type of music program. The best thing to do is to get them involved in music in their school. Like, if they have a music department or music teacher that's doing like after school choir or a band or something, get kids involved in that if you see that they have that talent. So always was in lessons, doing something. Was in high school, traveled with my choir, concert choir, and then when I graduated high school, went to college for music. And I remember my senior year, like doing a solo, for our choir, our graduation, and I was so nervous. And just to this day, my best friend's parents and some other friends, their parents still remember that performance. And so, and they tell me all the time, I'll never forget hearing you sing for the first time. We just knew you were so anointed, and just and I'm just like, what in the world? Because I had no clue at the time. I remember singing for the homecoming coronation and being in the stairwell praying, God, please help me. Just help me. I can't do this by myself. Just help me. And when you talk about not having confidence to step out to do things, I have found my safe place in the place of having to lean on God. So people will ask, are you nervous about things? Like even this interview, right? So, having that feeling of, I can't do this by myself, allows me to rest in the Holy Spirit and His leading, and just believing that if He's going to bring me to an opportunity, if I believe that God is bringing me to an opportunity, then He's going to give me the grace, His grace, to carry me through that opportunity. So the confidence therein doesn't lie in myself, but in the Holy Spirit leading me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did you realize that I'm good at singing? I can do this. When did that hit you?
Well, two things. Number one, because I have a degree in vocal performance, so I knew I got a voice. I know I can sing.
Right.
But then again, it just goes back to just trusting that God will carry me through this, and also the vision that He gave me. I always held on to that. And my prayer would be, I don't know how you're going to do this, but I know this is what you showed me. So I'm going to step into this because that, I think, is going to lead me closer to that vision. So a lot of the decisions that I made musically or, career-wise as it related to performing, for lack of a better word, I would always remember that vision and make those steps towards that. So
I want to get back to when Bishop was looking for you, but I've always liked your professionalism too, because I feel like sometimes, being that we are believers in that we do things for God, I just feel like sometimes there's a lack of professionalism that goes into that. And you might not always have what it takes to display that type of professionalism, but I still believe that the best that you can to the best of your ability. But so talk a little bit about the professionalism and the way you carry yourself and the things that you do to make sure you are, yes, you have the anointing and you have this gifting, but make sure that it's packaged properly.
Yeah, that's a tough question, because I think you have to have the willingness to learn and be corrected and be taught. Put yourself in a position where you're learning. You can see what other people are doing and say, okay, don't do that. Oh, they did this. Okay, I should probably do that too. I've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to record a lot of, participate in vocal sessions for like Disney and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, Philadelphia Thanksgiving. So doing a lot of like studio sessions. And so there's a lot of growth, a lot of learning that takes place in those situations, because it's not my normal setting. It's not church, it's not praise and worship. That's a place where someone else knows more than I do. And, I've been in sessions where there are people who are very talented, but they're not humble. And so they don't get called back. They don't get called back, because even though they're talented, their attitude kicks them out of that session, right?
So they just won't call them back to come back?
No, because they're not easy to work with. Nobody, you can teach somebody how to sing a right note, but if their heart is not pliable, and if their personality is not nice and pleasant, then no. They would rather work with, which is in any instance, even in church, I would much rather work with someone that I can teach them how to sing specific parts, or I can teach them how to play, or teach them how to flow. But if their heart is not pliable and they're not meek and ready and willing to learn, that's all right. So I think that the professionalism comes from having that willingness to learn.
Yeah. Because you got to be willing. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But that's a big thing, though, because I believe, I feel, and this is just what I think, that a lot of believers, because God may have given you his vision, or you have this gift, okay, God's going to do it. So I don't have to do certain things because God's going to. And I've heard people say that before.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to do this, because God's going to. It's just like, well, you do have it, but there's certain things you got to do.
Yeah, because even on the flip side of that, for what I was just saying, we talk about faith. Faith, and I've said this before, faith is not faith until you put it into action. So, we know the scripture says that faith without works is dead, and we'll throw that out and just say it casually, but it's faith. If you're not working, if you're not putting something to it, then you don't have faith. You're just believing.
That's not faith?
No, because you're just believing. You're believing, and you're hoping, and you're wishing, but you don't have faith, because if you're not working it, it's not faith.
You just believe it.
You just believe it.
That's a jewel.
You just believe it. Which you're supposed to believe it, but if you're not activating, if you're not actively working towards what it is that you're believing for, then you don't have faith, because faith without the works is dead. Does not exist.
Proof that you believe it is in your action. That just clicks for me.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's big.
Yeah.
So anyone can sing?
Can anyone sing?
Can you teach? Because you said I could teach you how to. So can you teach? Or is holding the note different from singing?
Not really. My husband can sing.
Tell my wife that I can sing.
Can you though? But can you carry a tune? Can you carry a tune?
I don't even know.
Oh, you probably don't. That's okay.
With the pitch corrector, I can.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me rephrase that in teaching someone to sing.
I'm just messing with you. I know. So, what do you think about pitch correction? Is that cheating?
I think it's necessary, depending on your performance and what you're, Yeah, I'm cool with it, but don't pitch correct an entire song.
Auto-tune?
If like a note here or there, but if we gotta auto-tune the entire, like every single, no, that's all right. Just do something else. Like do a speech monologue.
Maybe poem. Stick to a poem.
Just stick to a poetry. Yeah.
So what happens when you get asked for? When Pastor asks for you and you lead a song, where does that take you? Then I started traveling with him, because he was doing tours. Really? Yeah. If anybody watches this from back in the day, we were doing a Crazy Praise tour. Crazy Praise.
Crazy Praise. Do you remember that song?
Not the words, but I do remember the song.
It was like, give him I don't know if I can sing it.
Crazy Praise. Praise that don't make no sense. Yeah, because she was back there. She, Oksana, she was on the praise team at Judah for Judah. Really? Yeah, I met her when she was at Judah.
Who was the worship pastor?
Rob.
Rob Belliot?
No.
It's okay.
What's his name?
Is it Rob?
Wasn't Rob? It was Rob. Yeah, you can talk.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, before him it was Greg Bruno.
I
don't know what that is.
Yeah.
After Greg was Robert Burwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then after him was Nelson.
Yeah, Pastor Nelson. I left Judah for a while. I left Faith World. I went to move to Tampa. Yeah. Then I went contract overseas for 2 years. Came back to Florida. And I was visiting.
Just ran over that so fast. You contracted overseas?
Yes.
Okay, can I just flip the script for a minute?
Go ahead.
What were you doing overseas? And what part?
What was going on?
Yeah, I mean, he just said that like,
Yeah.
that is a contractor for 2 years in overseas. Wait.
I was in Afghanistan.
Really?
Yep.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, what were you
Talked
doing in
about it.
Afghanistan?
I was in a postal contract. So I was a contractor as a civilian and on a military base.
What you
during
say?
the Afghanistan war. Yeah. Yep.
As a civilian?
As a civilian contractor.
On a military base?
Yep. That was crazy.
How did you do that?
So my brothers, I have 3 older brothers and they were all military. So 2 of them got deployed during the Iraq and Afghanistan war. So they found out about contracting while they were over there. And so they was like, guys, there's money to be made.
Yeah.
You might want to. So I went late. So they were all contracting because I was doing event setup. So I was making pretty good money here, doing shows and concerts and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go for 2 years. I wanted to build me a recording studio. So I was like, I'm gonna go over there just to fund, the dream. Ended up going over there. I did 2 years. Then I had my son in a previous relationship. My son was born, and after that, I just stopped. But
wow.
it was
people don't know about that.
Oh, contracting?
Yeah.
To get over there, it took me like a few months because you got to do an FBI background check. You got to do all of that. They check your credit and you get a clearance.
Because you're not about to work with the military as a civilian and not have given signed your name and you're not about to do that. So
literally, they take you through everything.
Right.
Physicals,
awesome.
all that stuff. Yeah, because they want to make sure that you can be
duck
in
and run fast.
Yep. Because we had incoming.
Yeah.
Things happened over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, sorry. That was
story.
really, really awesome.
Yeah. And that's what got me working where I work at now because when I came back, I was like, I can't work a normal public sector because the private sector, that's where I stayed at. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it was a lot of cool stories. So you're touring.
So I'm touring Crazy Praise tour. Yeah. And
you dropped any music at that time?
Nope, not at that time. No, not at that time. I was just there for the support.
Yeah.
I was on the praise team and I was happy.
Yeah.
And I did that for probably 3 years. And one summer, I'm still teaching. I was still a teacher, music teacher at the time. Yeah. And did great. Had a great teaching career. I was a teacher of the year 1 year. I won a Disney Teacherific Award, which is a really cool thing here in Florida. I opened a new elementary school. I got a chance to write curriculum for a fine arts magnet program.
Wow. So
I really had a lot of great accomplishments in the short time of me teaching. And so by my 6th year of teaching, I was done. I'm tired. I'm done. I can't with these kids.
Wait, how old were the kids?
Oh,
what was the teaching?
At that time, it was elementary, so it was K through 5.
Oh, yeah, you can be done.
Oh, I was done. I just, they had to put one little boy out in the classroom, and I didn't care where he went.
Just get out.
And I was done. I was like, nope, I will go and work at the mall before I sign another contract. I was
with the kids.
What? I was so done. But I was putting my faith into action because I told my principal I will not be re-signing another contract. I told her I was not. So that was like April, May, where you had to re-sign your contract for the upcoming year, and I was like, I can't.
Wow.
June or July, Pastor Brown asked me if I would want to be the music pastor, the worship pastor.
Wow.
And he was like, you can take some time to pray about it if you. I was like, no.
Nope.
Some things you don't need to pray about.
We're
just know.
We're good.
I will be here. Yes.
Wow.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but yes.
Just like that.
Just like that. So took that step of faith and accepted the position and. Yeah, it was a growing experience for me even then because, like I said, I didn't know exactly. I just knew what I saw them doing, what I would see Martha doing, and but yeah, and then the rest is history.
Get your merch. Get your merch.
So was he in the same place?
We were
Because they weren't.
on Forest City Road.
Oh, so Forest City Road was in 95?
No, this was 2001. So we were
okay.
in 95. We were at a pop. No. 95. We were at the airport.
Okay, so I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were there.
Yeah. We were went from the airport to Apopka to another place in Apopka to Forest City Road, which is
so
where
So you was there for that whole train. You seen all of that happen. So so when you do that, when you taking that faith, so was it so much? Did you know what you wanted to do after the kids thing?
No.
After so you just was.
I was just
done
walking.
doing that.
Oh yeah.
You didn't know where you was gonna go into.
No.
Wow.
No, I literally was like, I'll work at the mall. I'll go work at Universal. I think Universal was just opening up around that time. So I was like doing some auditions there and didn't get anything. And was like, okay, well,
Don't know.
let me go put some applications in.
I always say to work with kids is like a special anointing.
It is it's special. Yeah, because it's tough.
My son is doing the online school thing.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
When he's here, he does the online school, and just to see how the teacher is with all of the
That's
kids.
a whole different virtual
and
school is
she's
a
like,
different.
oh my!
That's a different ball game. It's
You
a
really
whole
can't.
different
Hard to corral them.
thing. Yeah.
And then some kids like you see the camera.
Yeah.
It's either down here
Yeah.
or they're doing something else. One kid was playing the game.
Oh.
So she's like, "You're playing the game." And he's like, "No," and you can hear the game on the phone. This kid is playing the game.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, that's working with kids.
Yes. That I can't even imagine
Jesus.
teaching right now during this whole.
Oh, the
It's
online
crazy.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
So what happens after that? So now you're there.
So I'm there full time, and we're doing some conferences, and I'm in there. And the great thing about it is the band that was there. I have to say specifically the drummer Todd Wilson. He would tell me a lot. Okay, you can't do that. Don't do this. You got to teach. So he really taught me a lot of leading worship. And just like how to communicate with the band, how to communicate with the AV personnel, and you got to watch pastor, you got to keep your eyes on it, So because even though I'd seen a lot of it, I didn't really know what was going on. And so they taught me and they helped me along the way.
Wow.
And so then I recorded my first project in 2004.
What was the name of it?
I'm Free. It's called I'm Free, and it's
Free?
the orange case, the orange and yellow cover.
Yeah.
I had my spikes, all my spiky hair.
I think when I got there, because you talk about they were teaching you how to do all this. When I got there, man, because I would watch, because I was into, I've always had a passion and a desire for the performing arts.
Yeah.
The first time I was in Sheena. It was shot at the Universal lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
I was in Sheena. I was an extra there in that. So I've always been infatuated with, the performing arts, movies and all that. So when I got there, I was doing AV work when I was in around the time. Yeah, I think I started doing like show setup and productions. So I'm looking at all the lights and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the way you and Pastor move and just how y'all I would study y'all because I was interested in that type of stuff, and then just hand gestures and the way you guys moved on stage like that. It was, and y'all were so on point with it.
Yeah.
So that set a standard within me.
Yeah.
Just being a artist. So I would go to different events.
Yeah.
And I'm moving and thinking different type of ways. I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna work. Nah, this ain't gonna work. Just from things I picked up and watching how you guys moved. So that made an impact in me outside of the, from the spiritual side, just the practical side of things. So now you're telling me that you were taught how to do those things.
But by the time you got there, I'd already been there 10 years.
You was a vet. You was a pro at it.
Yeah, I mean, by then, we had been doing that for a while. So, yeah, that was such a learning experience and just such a life-changing experience. And I knew that what I had was like a wealth of information, a wealth of experience. And so a lot of what I share now when I'm out teaching or training, other worship leaders or going to develop worship ministries, is a lot of what I did and learned while at Faith World.
So talk a little bit about being a woman in leadership.
So,
And in church leadership at that.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. The guys, I say the guys because it was just me and the band, and I was just really fortunate to not have any issues.
Really?
Yeah.
No, get off my stage.
No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Not. Let me think now. No.
That's actually impressive.
The band, they took good care of me too. Like I was the big little sister. So there was not really a whole lot. And Pastor Brown took good care of me too. Like I didn't have any problems really.
Yeah.
If I did, I would let him know about it and it was handled.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of problems there. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go through my my tenure.
Yeah. There was was Crazy Praise the yearly
Judah Music Conference.
It was Crazy Praise?
Judah Music Conference.
Oh, that was the music conference.
It was a Judah Music Conference
every year. Those were. I never made it to one.
No,
I wanted to so bad.
Oh, you talk about
it's probably
lights
crazy.
And oh my gosh, yeah. Every year we would have. Well, I say every year. A couple of years we had like a kabuki curtain.
What
you know
is
the kabuki
that?
curtain where you have the curtain and the curtain drops.
Oh. And then y'all come out from behind the curtain?
Yes. Well, we would just be there.
He had a colorful piano one time. I think I've seen the videos of it.
Was it a red piano?
It was the red one. It wasn't the red one. It was like painted different colors.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then I do remember the red one that it was on. I think he had long hair at the time. It was a video they showed. It was just,
that's so funny.
I didn't get to see it.
So far ahead of our time.
Yes.
Back then. This is like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
What
was that reception like?
Well, it was mixed. People either like loved it and thought it was amazing. People were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like a concert every Sunday," and then other people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's like a concert every Sunday." They either loved it or they just thought it was like too much. Yeah. But now here we are, 10 years later, 15, and everybody's doing it. Everyone's doing it. So. Everybody's
doing it. And I know for me, from what I would hear, just like from being a member, from what people would say about it, just around the city and around the time, I'm like, have you been? They're like, no, I don't want to go. I'm like, okay, well, you can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
And I was like Team Faith World all day, so like I'm just like it was really good for me. And then I think at that time I wasn't really like in my search after God, like how I should be. But I knew that I was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it and like at the time, but I knew I was supposed to be there. And being there really got me attached to praise. And I told my wife knows that like praise is like that's to me, that's everything. And then later in my life, then worship was introduced, which was funny. Yeah. But because I believe praise does a lot for you, and I believe praise sets the stage for worship to come in. So I do want to get back to your first album, but talk a little bit about the way that is set up for you, being in worship and praise and worship and the heart of God and setting the stage and bringing in the Spirit, that whole experience.
Yeah. So and I was hoping that you would share a little bit about that. Because I feel the same way too, that being at Faith World, like it took me to this whole new understanding of praise, and getting to a place where I am able to supersede my own emotional heaviness and my own like weights and downheartedness, all of that through praise, and I believe that that's why God commands us to praise. That's why he's given us so many different ways to praise, so that way we can have an opportunity to change what we're focusing on and totally focus on him, because that's what praise does. The Bible says that God inhabits the praises of his people, and so a lot of times if you're feeling like you can't find God. Like maybe you're like, I'm praying, and I just don't hear from him. I'm praying. Well, just take a moment to just praise him and to thank him and to honor him and to just bless him. And in that moment, in that praising, you will become aware of his presence, because that's where he is. Right. He's there in the midst of praise. And so, like you said, praise sets you up for worship, right? And so you go from this woe is me to turning, kind of like David did. Poor David, he just was like up and down. How was right. You if you read the Psalms, it's like one day he's like, oh, why God, can you please hear me? My enemies are coming to kill me, and but yet will I praise you. But God, I'm just so So, we go from this place of woe is me to God, you're awesome, and you become aware of his presence. And then there's this response to the revelation, or to the manifestation of his presence. Of your response then becomes, God, I don't know what else to say except I'm just going to give you my life, right? And even in this moment, I'm just going to give you me. And that's your worship. It's more than just singing a fast song to a slow song. But worship has to become a space where you are giving God you, right? Romans 12:1 says, present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to the Lord, because this is the worship that pleases him. This is what he desires. We don't have to bring birds and oxen and all of that to the temple anymore. But now we are to give our lives as a living sacrifice to the Lord, because that's the worship. And so, whether you're in a praise and worship setting, that time of honoring him and giving him everything that you are, that's where this exchange can take place then, where you are completely yielded to him, and then he can pour into you. He can speak to you. He can say what he wants to say to you. He can give you direction. You hear from him. And that's the blessing, that's the benefit of worship. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Is that pressure on you when you're in charge of
it
that
used
type
to
of
be
atmosphere?
It used to be.
People?
Yeah, it used to be, because I would feel like, as a lot of worship leaders do, that you feel like you're responsible for that. But really, you're just responsible to worship God. As a worship leader, your responsibility is to worship God.
Wow.
And you model to the people how to do that. It's their responsibility to follow. It's their responsibility. We're all responsible for our own personal relationship with the Lord. I can't make you have your heart turned towards him, but I can show you what happens when you do. Yeah. So it used to be a lot of pressure. But then I just say, God, I'm going to worship you. I'm going to show your people how to worship you. I'm going to show them how to praise you. And then I just got to trust and believe in faith that you are ministering to them, and that their hearts are turned towards you, and that they're able to commune with you. I just have to believe that in faith.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to get my attention. Oh, I'm tripping.
It's okay.
So let's go back to so you dropped your first album.
Yeah.
How many was it? A full album? 12 tracks?
It was 10.
10?
Yeah.
That's a full album.
Yeah.
For your first one?
I was so nervous.
You were?
Oh my gosh. Oh my Lord.
Recording it, you was nervous?
Oh, terrible.
Did you write all of it?
I wrote most of it.
Wow.
Yeah, most of it.
So talk about that experience.
It was
that
scary.
Process. Yeah.
Let's tell boy, talk about out of my element, because I've been singing live, but then when you get in the studio, it's a whole different ball game. You're in there by yourself, and you're trying to tell people, raise your hand. What? There's nobody. Who am I talking to?
Jeez.
Then you hear yourself back. It's like, oh, it's terrible.
You didn't like your voice on record? Wow.
No.
Wow. I tell the first time I got into the studio, I was 17.
Wow.
And my brother, he was rapping at the time. And so I wrote out this, I'm an anime head. I like anime.
Anime?
Yeah. So I wrote out this cartoon. I wrote this script, and I did all of that. And I wanted an intro for the cartoon. And so I wrote a rap for it. And my brother was like, okay, that's pretty good. He was like, you want to come to the studio? And I was like, yeah. So I'm all gassed up. Oh my gosh. I went in there, I wasn't loud enough. And then, you know, because you're
He
nervous.
said that to you, or you
No,
felt like you weren't?
that's what happened. Like,
Yeah.
and he kept telling me like, "Hey, you got to get louder, you got to get louder." But he knew what to expect.
Yeah.
Bringing me into the studio for the first time.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I got these people around, and
There were people in there.
yeah,
too?
because you know you got the engineer, then he was there,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you know other
Yeah.
people just in the studio.
Oh man.
And I'm in the booth, and I'm
By
not
yourself.
loud enough. Yeah. Then I didn't like how my voice sounded.
Yeah.
So all of those things that go into it is just crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
But see, your first time, you went from live into now you're making it. What? So where does that come from? To like, let's put out an album. Who pushed you to do that?
I don't remember. I don't know if Pastor Brown did or he probably did.
Yeah.
I don't remember where that idea. Who came up with that idea?
Let's do an album.
Why would you do that? Why?
So you dropped the album. Did you go on tour after the album?
Nope.
No.
I just did it there and released it at the church, and it was under his label, and
Yeah.
So not a whole lot happened with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still have it. I own it now, and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And so now, are you doing at that point? Are you looking to do any more music, or are you just like, I'm gonna focus on doing?
Yeah. So I did the album, and I probably just was like, okay, that's good. I'm done.
That's
Because
it.
I went back to the doing my stuff. I think I sang at. I would imagine that I released it at Judah at one
Yeah.
of the conferences.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's what happened, because that's usually what happened. We would record an album and then we would release it at the conference. But that was 2004, and I did my next album in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my next album.
You was ready for that one?
I was okay. I was all right. Yeah, I was excited about it.
Yeah?
I was excited about it. I had a manager at the time. My husband Marvette and I had just had just gotten married, and that was before I had my son, my youngest son. So yeah, I was excited. It was a lot of like new changes, new things happening. So yeah, I was pretty excited.
So
I signed with a label
at that time.
right after I released and recorded that album, the second album, Essence of Your Presence. I signed with EMI Gospel, and they re-released it to How Great Is Our God. So a lot of people may have been familiar with How Great Is Our God. So that's where that
How
album
was that
came
like,
in.
signing to a label?
It was different. Boy, really just pulled me out of my comfort zone, and started traveling a little bit with them, doing radio interviews, and I didn't like it.
No?
No, I did not like it. I just wanted to be in my church.
Talking?
I don't know.
No?
I was going to say I don't mind it, but no.
Yeah. So you just like, I don't want to.
Oh man, back then, I was really like no.
What?
Yeah.
So what do you think that's from? Like, are you just naturally shy as a person?
Being under quarantine for these last few months, I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I've been practicing for this my whole life.
Oh boy. You can stay right here.
No, I would never think that you would have that introverted.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Really?
It takes a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to process and be in the right mindset to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me, I'm quite opposite.
Really.
But see, you know what? I say it's a front, because I do have a lot of shy things about me, and I've been the quiet person for like all growing up through high school, middle school, all that. I'm always a quiet person. But I like music so much. Wanting to do music pulled me into this space, because I'm like, well, you can't do that and be an artist. Like,
right.
Making music, you kind of got to be out there. You got to be talking to people,
Yeah.
networking, all those
I don't
things.
like all of that.
No?
Which is probably why. Well, I don't know. It's probably why I haven't gone as far as some people.
Right.
That could be, but that's how God made me.
Yeah.
And so I'm not good with faking the funk. Can I say that?
Because actually it is.
Yeah, I'm not good
because
with
you're
that.
just talking.
Yeah.
I don't like that. See, this right here, like the sit down. I love this.
This is cool for
this
me.
This is cool. But being in front of people and doing all of that, and the couple times I have done radio interviews, those are okay. But I only did it because, well, this is how you. So it's one of them type of things.
Yeah.
You know, more so than I just like to. Honestly, put me in the studio and put me on the stage. I'll perform.
I'm right there.
I'll do music.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah.
Studio, leading worship, all day. I'm
That's
good.
it.
But I don't need to talk about myself.
But see,
like
people
that.
people prescribe to who you are.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what you doing a lot now?
I'm doing a lot now.
And what church are you at now?
I'm at the River of Life Christian Center here in Orlando.
Okay.
And leading worship. Of course, during COVID, we've been pre-recording a lot of
pre-recorded?
We do.
Wow.
We'll go in every week and we'll pre-record a set for the upcoming service.
Oh, and they'll just play it before Oh,
yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So how'd you end up there or land there?
Oh man, how did I land it? A friend of ours invited us there, and in 2012, so we started attending. Started attending, and then I would kind of like just kind of help them if my friend was, because he was a worship leader there at the time. So if he was traveling, then I would fill in for him. And I got a call. I got a call to go to a church. And I asked my pastor, Jackson, where we are now, of course, after speaking to my husband, but I was asking my pastor about, just his thoughts about it. And he was like, well, are you looking for to be someplace full time? Because I wasn't. We were just attending. And I would just kind of fill in if they needed me to fill in. And he was like, are you looking for someplace to be? I was like, well, yeah, that would be great. Because I wasn't working anywhere. And he was like, well, you want to be on staff here? And I was like, yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah. So that was in 2013. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you also have the oils.
I do have the oils.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
Is that how you want to segue into that? That's how you want to get into it? You also have the oils.
I think so, guys. Was that not a good segue?
That was hilarious. I've never been asked. So you have the oils.
Segues like that?
So I
just talk, LaRue.
I love it. It's so great. We're just sitting down. We're just chatting, right?
When it comes to
So I do have the oils. I use essential oils.
You use essential oils.
There's a company called Young Living Essential Oils. And I started using them probably about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And using the oils, they have an opportunity for you to be a distributor and to be on the business side of it as well. Right. And so that's what I've done, is jumped in on the business side of it just probably in the last maybe 6 months. So I've been using them for about 4 years, and then just in the last 6 months jumped in on the business side. It's so funny because there's an oil for everything, which I've learned, and so it's just a whole holistic, natural, plant-based approach to your way of living. And so all before now, my husband would always call me the oil lady. The oil lady. The oil lady. What you got? What you mixing up now? What do you have now? What do you? My friends were like, "Do you have an oil for such and such a?" Yes, I have an oil for that. So.
What are some of the things that the oils are good for?
So let me just break it down for you, right? So essential oils are the bloodline to plants.
Oils.
Yeah, oils are the bloodline to a plant. So if you think about lavender, it comes from a lavender plant.
Okay.
Peppermint oil comes from
a peppermint plant.
Why? Yeah. Lemon.
There's a lemon plant?
There is a lemon tree, but lemon oil actually comes from the rind of the lemon.
Of the lemon?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have never known.
So if you had, about this, if you have lemons in your backyard, if you take it, someone gave me a lemon once and I was rolling it on the counter to cut it. And when I picked it up, there was all this oil on my counter. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. And I had already been using the oils, but I didn't realize that it came from the rind. But yeah.
Wow.
It won't do it though if you get oils from the store. If you get lemons from the store.
And why is that? They do something different in the store?
Pesticides, all of the sprays and all that they put to preserve them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just takes all the oil out of it.
Takes all the oil out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I use beard oil. Does that count?
That does count.
Oh.
What kind of beard oil do you use?
It has not charcoal. I don't even know.
Oh. See? I have to get you looking at the ingredients.
I just bought it from like one of those beauty supply places.
Okay, yeah. So we have to start looking at the ingredients things. Because here's the thing, whatever you put on your skin or you ingest, it's getting into your bloodstream.
So it's probably all up in my blood.
Just all of it.
I just started the beard thing too.
That's okay. We're gonna get you some, just like I brought some lavender oils for you guys. We're gonna get you some beard oil.
Ooh. The lavender oil. She bought some lavender oil, y'all. What does the lavender oil do?
It induces calm and relaxation. It's also good for skincare. Lavender is great if you have like a cut or if you have a burn. You can put lavender. Young Living essential oils. I can't speak for the oils that you get from your store. Yeah. But it's good for burns. It's good for like if you have cuts, if you have mosquito bite, if you are itchy, sneezy, any of that kind of thing, it'll just help support.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be thinking about oils.
You don't, I know, but you will from now on.
Yeah, now I'll be like, oh, oil.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I wonder if there's an oil for it.
Yeah.
Let me ask LaRue. Yes.
Yeah, right. So what are some of the things you're doing now? I know you did you're doing the Zoom calls. You spoke with the lady. I forget her name. But I think she was at a church. Was she the first lady of a church?
Recently?
Yeah.
Lady Mia.
Was it Mia?
Willis, like last week?
I think so.
A couple weeks ago. Yeah, so every week I have worship leaders Let's Chat.
Okay.
And we go live on my Facebook page, my LaRue Live Facebook page. We're getting ready to do LaRue Live and my YouTube.
Nice. YouTube is a nice thing to get into.
Yeah, I have so many followers on my subscribers on my YouTube channel.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the next thing I'm getting into.
Yeah. YouTube. So I'm going to go live on there, but every Monday at 7 p.m. I do live interviews, just like maybe 30, 40 minutes, just chatting with worship leaders. And this month I'm going to host pastors because October is Pastor Appreciation Month. So I'm going to have my pastor on next Monday.
Nice.
So, yeah.
October is Pastor Appreciation Month?
October is Pastor Appreciation Month.
Dang, don't tell nobody I didn't know that.
It's okay. We won't. We won't tell anybody.
Tell me what I didn't know that. My dad's he doesn't have a church now, but he preaches, so he's a pastor.
Okay.
So I grew up all in church and
here in Orlando?
In Orlando.
Okay, yeah.
His church was Family Worship Center.
Wow.
So we did, I grew up in the church and everything like that. But then life happened. Yeah. So I stopped going to church. And then what really pulled me back was, 2010 experience, my life there. And then I had my son. And I was just thinking, I want my son to be this type of person, this type of person. Yeah. And then the Holy Spirit just told me, well, if you want him to be someone different, you're going to have to.
Absolutely.
And that's what started, me back on this, and that was 6 years ago because my son is 6 now. So that's kind of what got me to where I'm at now, and doing that. So in closing, just talk a little bit about, your coming to Jesus story and just for a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah, am I coming to Jesus?
You can just tap it if you want to. You don't got to get all.
Am I coming to Jesus story?
Yeah, like what was that experience?
I was in college, and I was in college.
That's it. Period. I was in college.
I was in college. My early 20s. So early you know 20s. What that's like.
Weird times.
Wild times.
Yeah.
But I was living with my sister, and she was praying for me. My sister and my best friend had gotten saved before me. And like I said, I grew up in church, but didn't have a personal relationship with the Lord. And I had a dream one night that there was earthquake and a tornado and all of these crazy things were happening. This was in a dream. And I went to the church that I grew up in, and there's a cemetery in South Carolina. So all of the graves were open at the cemetery.
Wow.
And so when I ran back to the house, I got home and my mom was there, and I walked in and I went to run to her, to my mom, and she held her hand out and she said, "It's too late." And she turned to, I guess it was Jesus at the time in the dream.
Wow.
And so when I woke up and I asked my sister, it was like, "What in the world was that?" And she was like, "It's time. You need to go on and let's go to the altar. When we get to church, you need to go ahead and get your life right."
Wow.
And at that point I was like, okay. So that was when I asked the Lord to be my Savior. And after that, really started going to church more consistently and asked the Lord, why am I here? Like, what's the purpose? Why am I here? What's the purpose for my life? And that was when he showed me the vision of being on a stage, and the people. And
you had that in
when I was in college, not long after I got saved.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I fully believe that God has a purpose and a plan for every life, right? And our job is to find out what that purpose is.
Wow.
Like, that should be your goal, is to find out why do you have me here? Like, what is the meaning of my life? And for some people, it may be to reach, the world. It might be to reach the millions and millions of people. But somebody had to share the gospel with Billy Graham. You know what I mean? Like, somebody had to share the story, of Jesus with this one person who made the impact. Right. Yeah. He's our worship and arts director. He's like my little brother at our church. His name is Anthony. And, he said, I believe that his mom's purpose was to raise me. You know what I mean? So sometimes we can get so caught up in, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that, go and do this, or, you're supposed to do it. But no, sometimes you're just called to just raise your kids. Pour into them, make sure that they are model citizens that are being, that when they grow older, then they'll become a change agent for the glory of God, but nevertheless, there is a purpose, for your life, whether it's to touch this one life or touch the millions. So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So how do you feel about what's happening in our country now, and the racial tensions and everything like that? Like,
how do I feel about it? I feel the same way as every other African American right now. I think, it's hard, it's scary, it's tough. When the world witnessed George Floyd's murder, it was very scary at the time. Being a wife and a mom of black men, it was like, where are you going? I don't want you to go anywhere. My husband went out of town and I cried.
Wow.
It's just like, just be careful. Driving from here to Georgia, it's like anything can happen. You stop on the side of the road, you get stopped by the police. It's like, emotions can escalate. It's a scary time. Yeah. But at the same time, I believe, just like any wound that is not healed properly has to sometimes have the bandage ripped off, and the wound has to be exposed so that proper healing can take place.
Wow.
I feel like, right now, more now than ever, people are realizing that God created the human race, not just black and white and different, but we are a part of this one race. I mean, we've known that for so long, but I think now it's like we're being reminded of that.
Right.
So,
everybody's seeing it.
Yeah, everyone is seeing it.
My
now.
mom, what made it like kind of real for me, I have 2 black boys, and not even just boys now, black women. Yeah. But I was on the phone talking to my mom, and I had was talking to her, and she was like, "Are you out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to get food." And so she stayed on the phone with me the whole time.
Yes.
And then I went to Scott, got her money or whatever. But I wasn't thinking about it. She was just on the phone with me. And I pulled back into the driveway, and she's like, "Are you home?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Okay. All right, well, I just wanted to be on the phone with you or he's out."
Yep.
I was like, and then it hit me. I was like, what? She was
Yeah.
like, "I worry about you being out." And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Because that's my mom. I mean, I'm in my 30s and I'm just out driving, but, and then it just kind of sunk in that, this is a real, fear, So I appreciate you talking to me, and I just pray that a lot of people are just like impacted. Oh, the spray?
Yeah. I didn't bring any. I do have some. I should have brought it. But you asked me if I had oils, and I should have. You should use that.
You're supposed to be like, I got sprays too.
I do have sprays.
So what's up with the spray?
So it's a vocal spray. It's a vocal spray, and part of using the oils is also connected to me being a singer. Because you want to make sure that you are staying healthy. A lot of times people will ask me, what do you do if your voice is hoarse, or you're losing your voice, or you're, all of these things. What do you do when this happens?
Right.
But it's better, isn't it better if you can prevent those things from happening?
Yes.
Instead of having to figure out how to fix it after this has happened. So one of the things that I've also created for myself, and now I'm sharing it with others, is a vocal spray, and it has essential oils in it.
I was going to ask you, can you just put oils on can you do that too?
Yeah.
But you're doing it through the spray.
Yeah.
Oh.
Young Living essential oils only. Remember, I'm
oils.
only.
You keep saying that. You're like Young Living, because I don't know about these other oils.
No, because and the reason why I say it is because Young Living, they are the only oil company who has an FDA approval for consumption.
Oh, okay.
So while you may say, this lavender, LaRue said lavender, we can ingest lavender and drink a lavender tea. You cannot go to the store and get lavender oil and put it in your tea, because we don't know what that oil really has in it.
So you do a lot of teas? You do a lot of teas?
I don't.
No?
I'm just good with water.
Oh, water. Because sometimes when I be in the studio, and then my throat will just start getting all scratchy, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to sound like this a lot. But I got some of them sprays then. Yeah,
I will definitely get you some spray. Yeah. The other thing too with that, if you, like, a lot of people don't know that, like ginger and lemon, if you don't have like a lot of mucus in your throat, ginger and lemon will actually dry you out, because those two are meant to like cut some of that excess mucus. So if you don't have it, it's cutting away the good stuff that's there.
Really? So would you want the mucus?
Yeah, it naturally, your body naturally produces fluids, right? So it has to be, your voice, your vocal folds have to be lubricated just a little bit to function properly. So if you strip away what's supposed to be there, then that can also pose a problem.
I didn't even know that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You got a free vocal tip.
Right? Thank you for sitting down with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great.
And when I reached out to you, I was just like, man, I hope LaRue hits me back. And you did, and I was so excited.
Aww, this is so cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very, very cool.
Thank y'all so much for watching the sit down. Comment what you think about this video. Like the page if you haven't already, and don't forget to check out the Shopify. LaRue,
what?
How can they get in touch with you? I'm gonna tag you in the post anyway.
Absolutely, tag me.
Yeah.
So everything is LaRue Live. So if you go to my website, you can go to LaRueLive.com. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me at LaRue Live.
LaRue Live
on Instagram.
Yeah.
My Facebook is LaRue Live. My YouTube is LaRue Online.
Okay.
That's the only one.
Yeah,
but everything else, if you just put in LaRue Live,
and that's branding right there.
That's branding.
So yeah, y'all support, check her out, and thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all next time on the sit down. Deuces.
Bye.
I appreciate it.
This was so much fun.
Yeah.
So cool.
it's just conversation.
I love
And like
it.
some people, they're like, oh, I want to know what you're gonna talk about, so then I have to send them questions.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing that,
Yeah.
and I will do it, because then I'm gonna try to find a way to make it, I'm gonna make it
Fluid.
natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like
That's
the
cool.
conversation.